Now, ghosting doesn't happen necessarily because someone has lost interest in you. Ghosting happens because you lost authority over your assumptions. And it's those very assumptions that told them exactly how to play their role. Remember, everyone is playing their part based on the role that you allocate to them. And so don't see ghosting, because I know a lot of you are in a situation of being ghosted, in a situation of no contact, silence. And many of you are seeing that as a rejection. But don't see ghosting as their rejection of you. What it simply is your subconscious replaying its rejection of you. Do you understand that? It's your subconscious replaying its rejection of you. That's what it is. That's what you're experiencing. And I promise you, once you see this code for what it is, you're going to stop writing the same ending, just like we did with a client of mine. I'm going to share with you guys a real case file. Amazing, beautiful lady that I had the pleasure of working with. I think roughly, I don't even know how long it's been now. Time is flying. Time is flying. But she was in no contact with her specific person for a long period of time. You know, this was an SP that she had huge chemistry with. At the start, everything was going well, as it often does. There's so much promise to it, but same ending on repeat every time. And when she broke this pattern, which I'm going to share with you today how we broke the pattern so you can all do the same. When she broke this pattern, to this very day, not only are they together, but not that long ago, I got messages from her telling me that he had taken her away for her birthday and that things have just been incredible, have completely turned around. He's gone from no contact and distance to contact and commitment. So stay with me, because I'm going to show you everything that we do. I'm going to show you the exact sentence that I got her to use that broke her panic during the no contact phase, because let's face it, it's a time where a lot of you go into spirals and panic, no contact, being ghosted. I'm also going to share with you the 3 rules that ensure that you will not fall into this cycle, this pattern again. And I'm going to obviously break down what we did together that got contact with her SP, got contact and commitment. So this whole video is going to be packed to the brim. You know what I'm going to say? Packed to the brim with juicy gems. And you're going to want to collect every single one of them, because I don't leave anything out. My channel is about essentially teaching you to coach yourself through this. You don't need me. You don't need anyone else. The answers are all residing within you. Even my colleagues, other coaches, they do think that I'm absolutely insane. Think I'm just some nutter because I don't gatekeep, I don't paywall. They think I'm sabotaging myself. But really, to be honest with you guys, the reason I set up a channel in the first place is essentially to see all of you succeed, because I had gained so much from this law. I had recovered from PTSD when I was told it was going to be, you know, many years of crippling anxiety within months. I had overcome chronic, debilitating depression, agoraphobia, panic disorder. I'd manifested my dream home when I didn't have the money for it, a car that didn't even exist, numerous specific people I wanted back for reconnection or healthier version of a relationship, my specific person, my current partner at the moment. It's just changed my life so much, and I want it to do the same for you. So take on board everything that I'm teaching, because I know a lot of you are. That's why so many of you keep on coming to me with your success stories, and I keep getting all these amazing messages from you guys who have told me that you've spent so much money on courses. I've got cobwebs going on. So many of you have spent like thousands and thousands on courses and coaching, but you said that you've learned more here in this free space than anywhere else. I'm ever so grateful to all of you for sharing that with me. That's really, really important. So are you ready? Are you ready to turn this around? Have you been ghosted? Is it stressing you out? Don't worry about it. I promise we're going to get this solved for you, okay? So grab yourself a hot drink. That's how we do it here. Sit back and relax. Take notes, because this is all going to become so clear at the end of this. Cheers to all of you guys. Here's to all of you and all of your incredible success. So let's begin. My client never formally shared her success story. She'd never emailed it or voice noted it to me, as I often like my clients to do. But she has granted me the permission, as you've seen here on the screenshots, to share what had happened with her. Now, my client met her specific person, I think it was around 2022, wasn't it, hun, on a dating app, of course. And her very first thought when she saw him, for whatever reason, is that he's a player. So the program started right there. And for a few months, they had a couple of dates. During that time, she admitted that sometimes she would be a bit delayed in replying here and there, that a little part of her was still quite guarded. And she, of course, assumed of him that every delayed message meant that perhaps he might be seeing another woman. I think because they had never set anything in stone about exclusivity. And I think maybe something had been discussed even about open relationships. But anyway, what I know is that that was very much playing on her mind. So despite all of that, anyway, things did progress. He was showing up for her. And she said to me how there was a particular night where they had this incredible intimate connection, something that she only described as heavenly. I just remembered she was like, had been transported to heaven. She's very, very spiritual. And it was during that moment, you think that would be such an amazing thing to have and to feel that deep connection during an intimate embrace and an intimate moment. But what happened to her was it triggered her thinking that this is too good to be true. He's pulling away, you know, he's had to move to another city, right, for work. Yet they still kept in touch. But of course, this was the underlying program beneath it all. What she did start to notice was that he wasn't making as much effort to go in to see her. She was doing it for him. So she started to feel it was one-sided. And as a result, she started to really engage with those notions of not being chosen. And eventually things got more sporadic in terms of their communication until eventually it was so strained that he just came out and said, you know, I can't continue this because I just can't give you what you want. Now, this led to a long, long period. I don't know if it was like a year or so, maybe more, I can't remember now, of ghosting, of silence. She was in absolute devastation and spiraled from this. Now, she had done what a lot of people had done, various sorts of techniques, her particularly affirmations, but she realized and she admitted that she was still not living from the end of her desire. She had in that long period, I do recall, because I've made such extensive notes, so I did refresh myself on her story. She had reached out, hadn't you, hon? You'd reached out, perhaps, I think it was one occasion to try and regain communication, and he did respond. But it was just a very tiny little exchange, and then it was back again to complete no silence. And there's a beat that no one expects in this story, and I'm going to show you that in a moment. But first, I want to tackle this code. I want to put it all on the table. Essentially, what caused the breakdown was this pattern that just kept on haunting her in every single relationship. And that's what we needed to break, because people think that specific person manifestation, this is why it gets a bad name, right? Specific person manifestation is about making them fall in love with you, making them obsessed, making them, you know, be like your, I don't know, puppet on a string. You guys are much more elite and much more intellectual than that. Normally people, by the time they find my channel, they're actually ready for success and they're ready for the deeper dive work. So, you know, it's not about that at all. In fact, your specific person coming back to you, changing their state, conforming, it's nothing to do with them. It's to do with you. It's always about you. It's about you learning to break those destructive cycles. It's about you being able to unveil what those patterns are. That's why I think the specific person journey, as much as it gets a lot of stigma, is actually one of the most rewarding journeys. Every specific journey, a person journey that I went on, whether I wanted them for a relationship, whether I wanted them just for an apology or a friendship, I have healthy relationships with all of my exes because of that. Not because, like I say, I wanted them back. But I used this tool, I used the law effectively. I changed and broke my patterns, my cycles, because yes, I had been ghosted. Numerous times I've been in that situation where I was getting blocked, each time. And like I said, I always saw it as a blessing, and it always was, it always worked out in my favor. And that's what I'm trying to get you guys to see, the power's all within you. Because what you're doing with the SP journey is that you're becoming the person for whom is chosen. Chosen is just your natural go-to. You're becoming the person for which love comes and it stays. You can sustain love because you know you're worthy of it, because you see love as a stable source. And then whatever happens, as many of you have noticed, you'll attract people who are not even your specific person. Everyone gets affected by this shift within you. Because remember, manifestation is the art of embodying the identity of the version of you who has the desire, the version of you who has the desire, despite the lack of 3D evidence. This is something you've all done all the time on autopilot. It's what got you through life. It's what got you this far. It's what got you the experiences that you've had. The art of embodiment of the identity of the version of you who has the desire. That's what got you the result, not trying to make them obsessed and all the rest of it. Now, when we look at her story, and I hope you've been analyzing her story, you'll notice that her identity was not that of being chosen. She wasn't the priority. And she felt like things were too good to be true. You know, if anything's good, then it's too good to be true, right? She had very little trust in men. And that's very understandable for her specifically. Her programming came from childhood, which it does for all of us. And for some of you, it won't be that evident, because some of you will be like, yeah, but I had a really good childhood. It doesn't matter. It's more to do with how that child version of us interpreted the stories and the things that occurred, right? What labels have we given ourselves since then? Many of us don't actually realize that it's running, because it's running on such a deep level, you know, since childhood, you can imagine, right? So for her, she was, you know, she's in her later 40s. Imagine how long she had that programming for. She had a father who left the family when she was young, and she had absolutely no relationship with him. And then, of course, she had a stepfather who ended up being abusive. So for her, it was quite evident, quite apparent that every male figure that she'd had from a young age just reinforced this message of, you're not worth the effort, you're not safe, you're not chosen, you're nothing. Always the way. One day I'll be traveling on those two. But do you get what I mean? So now I want to fast forward into her adulthood. And we want to look at how life has mirrored this story back to her. Because that's the thing, even if you're manifesting love in general or a specific person, many people say, okay, I've given up on my specific person and I want love, and they're manifesting for that. But the thing is, you want to learn about this because you don't want to repeat the same pattern over and over again. Whether you manifest a specific person back or not, if you don't address these issues, it will come to haunt you each and every time. That's why I always say, we date the same person but with a different face. Have you noticed everyone you've dated, there'll be a pattern, there'll be a recurring theme. So for her, her relationships ending with either betrayal, that was her theme because she wasn't chosen, or ironically, relationships ending with her being the one who was the betrayer, or it would be her accepting breadcrumbs and things like that till she gets ghosted. So her subconscious blueprint was already written, and ghosting was just the latest reflection. And if you don't, and this is a juicy gem, right? If you don't hold authority over your story, then your story is going to happily hold authority over you. That's how it works. Now, many of you know, you've been on the journey with me and you've seen me in real time manifest my specific person that I'd set an intention for. Joseph Ally, it's been in the community for many, many years and influenced many of the people that you see today. Many of the coaches that we speak to started off being influenced and learning from Joseph. So he's my specific person that I'd manifested into my life. And he'd been, like I said, been on this space for years. He's been developing this software. I've spoken about it before, and he's been discussing it on his channel. It's the first time anything like this has ever been done to this degree. And it's one of the reasons that we have so many coaches collaborating with us now, because we're all fascinated. We're all here to learn from each other. We're all here to share for you guys to get success. Well, those with a good mindset are. That's our intention. And we're sharing, you know, they're sharing with us as well, the wins, the setbacks across all communities, every single person, with, of course, these coaches' permission. And the exact belief pattern that I'm sharing with you here that my client went through, you would not believe how much this shows up again and again and again. We label the SP based on our past experiences, which then cause a sort of friction that causes the distance, that causes the silence. A loop is showing up constantly. Maybe you've seen it in your own story for those of you who have been ghosted right now. I want to share something that brings me on to something that Charles Haanel, was the author of I think Key Systems, Master Key Systems. He stated that the world within is the cause, the world without is the effect. So to change the effect, you must change the cause. This is 100% true. So now all of you know the map. We're clear on that? So let's write new lines, shall we? Are you ready? Are you ready to break out of it? I'm going to share with you the three rules of Ghost Club. I know I said I was going to do some more film references in my videos, like I did with the one assumption to rule them all. Anyone guess what this one is? 3 rules of Ghost Club. Okay, so rule 1 of Ghost Club. And yes, this one can sting a bit. You broadcast and they mirror. So, for example, in her specific case, when you label someone a player, what do you think is going to happen? Your body is going to prepare itself for loss, for being played. And what happens with that is because you're setting yourself up in that way, you then start to exhibit micro behaviors that you don't even realize you're exhibiting. That's why so many of my clients, when I shift their state, they go into shock because they didn't realize how they were acting and how it was coming across. You know, it can be really, really shocking. So for her, it manifested as delayed replies. And she did say she had somewhat of a cool tone to her messages, right? Because, you know, it's a player that she's dealing with. She wasn't as warm as she normally would be. She wasn't giving as much eye contact as she normally would. She would test him instead of just giving very clear, direct invitations. She would be scanning for threats in every eventuality, even when the circumstance was neutral, everything was dangerous to her. So what happens is then, in that case, like I said, her belief creates her behavior, and the behavior creates the outcome. And what happens is then, she's acting in this way, unbeknownst to her for a lot of it, was on autopilot. Her SP then receives this very sort of guarded signal. And what's happened? He's trying to break down this wall. He's not getting anywhere. So he gets into a more relaxed, non-effort place. He starts to distance himself. Maybe he's got his own insecurities and he's taking this as maybe she's not that interested. And then the loop begins. The energy that you broadcast, your juicy gem, that energy that you're broadcasting is the script that they will follow each and every time. What script did you just hand over to your specific person? They can't do anything but follow the script that you give them. Again, not to be confused with puppet mastery, like I control every move that they make, but they will act and react in accordance to the state that I've put them in. Quick check, actually, before we get on to rule number 2. But for you guys at the moment, and this is a way to unravel some of your own coding, first answer that comes to your head, message it in the comment section. I'm curious to see where your mindset is at. So for example, say you're waiting on a message from someone you really care about, your specific person, someone you're dating, someone you really want to connect with. And that message is late or delayed for a time. What's the first sentence that your mind says in that moment? Say it out loud. First thing that comes to your mind, because that's the subconscious talking. What came to your mind there and then? Right there is the code that you're looking for. I'm really curious. Write it down. I really want to see, actually, what was the first thing that came to your head? Another plane? Okay, rule number 2. Rule number 2 of Ghost Club. The heavenly reason, right, is what turned the moment cold, okay? So her body wanted to protect her from what was familiar. My client had, a very powerful connection with her specific person, but her body called it an error. It's too good to be true. So it resulted in her pulling away and him feeling that and him pulling away. Her body, her heart, her mind was protecting this old story that love equals danger. So any closeness is going to equal, in her mind, collapse. So even a miracle, even something beautiful like that intense connection that they had was corrected back into the familiar silence. The subconscious protects what it knows, even if that means destroying what you want. The subconscious protects what it knows, even if that means destroying what you want. Even if it means that. And I know it's frustrating as hell to realize that, but you've all been there. I've been there myself. I have been there. Trust me. A self-sabotage loop. But don't feel bad about it, okay? I'm not having you guys feeling bad on yourselves. This is about learning. This is about bringing things to the surface because we're going to change it. Feel empowered. And if many of you are struggling with this, like I say, you don't have to struggle alone. You don't need to fork out for endless coaching sessions and stuff. We've set up a Discord that many of you had requested. You wanted a safe space that you could make a small investment in yourself, that as many people could join who were serious about change. We're running weekly live Q&As. We're running workshops. The groups are still intimate right now, so everyone's questions get answered every week. You don't have to do this alone. So rule number 3 of Ghost Club, and 3 is going to end the loop for good, but it's also one of the hardest truths to swallow. And it's something I talk about a lot when it comes to my success stories and how we got client success. And it's to do with value. Value writes the plot. So she named her core belief, which was I'm not worth the effort or the time. Now we watch the chain of events that occurred as a result of that. Not worth the effort all the time, right? So the belief inside, belief starts with belief, I'm not worth the effort. The behavior that is then manifest from that belief. That's why I say don't change your behaviors and your thoughts. This is already a manifestation from that core. So that resulted in her, that manifested in her accepting breadcrumbs, trying to rationalize his lack of effort and make excuses for it. She's therefore putting in more effort. She's therefore chasing. She was giving more than she was receiving, and she was texting him to try and retrieve some validation. That's what it resulted in. It also manifests in her inner language. Okay, he's too tired and he's too busy for me, and I'm just being a burden. I think she called herself that. She says that she's a burden, or something along those lines of being a burden. He might have someone else. Manifested in her having all of this, these terrible thoughts and internal dialogue. So therefore, of course, is then the result is manifest from that. This intermittent contact then followed by silence. So you don't get ghosted because they don't value you. Remember that. You get ghosted because your subconscious has not learned how to value you yet. Another gem, write that down. Because I have spent, you guys know, like I'm a bit of a geek when it comes to psychology. I never went into getting certifications. I studied it for years and years and experienced it myself. CBT, NLP, hypnosis in particular, for my own curiosity. So when I listen to people automatically now, I'm not just hearing their backstory and the plot, I'm hearing the code in their language. That's why I always need to hear your back. I need you to tell me about your backstory. I need to listen to you, like I did with her. She went into so much detail during our sessions. It was so helpful for me. I extracted so much. So we knew exactly what to work with. And her language told me a lot about her story, why he pulled away, which was then causing her more panic. And like I say, I'm going to give you the line that broke her panic in just a bit. Hold fire. It is coming. It is coming. But this is just, all of this is really important for you to understand that ghosting isn't random. It's repeated when your identity and your state are locked together. And this is why, as well, like my sessions end up being so intense, so deep dive, and in many cases quite long. Many of you know when you've worked with me. it's very different from anything you've experienced, because I'm like a bloody forensic. I can't help myself. I enjoy that. That's just the way that I personally work. And it was actually really handy, because more of you have been asking for me to do these case study breakdowns. You've been finding them helpful. So I've got stacks and stacks of notes that I've taken from my clients in so much detail, so I can break it down exactly what the issues were and what we did to solve them, and share it with you so that you can just all apply it freely in your own journey. So like I say, this is a reason how she managed to turn it around and to get success, as with a lot of you guys. I've had many clients lately, now that we're collaborating with more coaches, not only are they referring their clients to me, but a few of them have been coming to me with their love journeys. You've even got like public figures as well, and high profile figures that I've been working with, from Hollywood actresses to some musicians you might have even heard of, struggling with relationships, because this law it's not biased. It doesn't care if you're successful in your business or your career, if you're famous or if no one knows you. It does not care, but it affects all of us. And relationships are one of those things that run quite deep, and it runs at the identity level, which I think is why inadvertently a lot of clients that come to me, it's like love and SP. And it's one of those things that's quite hard to see when you're in the thick of it because of the emotions. But you can. That's what I'm teaching you to do here. And for me, personally, understanding human psychology is what helped. Because what many of you don't realize is that you're all behaving in a certain way and you're giving off a certain signal. You don't realize that you're doing it. Just like her. She didn't realize that she was being cold. She didn't realize how her delay in responses, which was really about self-preservation, was being interpreted by him. She didn't see that her actions were being dismissive of him. She didn't realize that she was also being quite cold towards him. But again, it was based on her language and what she told me that I was able to put this forward to her. And she was mortified. I don't want you guys blaming yourself when you come to this realization. You acted perfectly at that time from the state you occupied. You don't have control over it. Okay, because like I say, your actions and your thoughts, it's a manifestation of the state. So her state of fear caused her to act in this way to protect herself. You know, your subconscious mind doesn't argue with you. It accepts what your conscious mind decrees. That was influenced by Joseph Murphy. So here's the line that essentially helped to stop her from spiraling when she was in this position of no contact or ghosting. And that was a question that I posed to her, that I asked her to pose to herself. That is, what else could be true that doesn't harm me? Because the reason why you're spiraling right now is because you're applying a meaning to it that is causing you harm. So what else could be true that doesn't harm me? Now keep it, because I'm going to demonstrate more for you in a live simulation. I'm going to share with you now two of the main things we did. Two of the main things that we did that you can apply for yourself. Because like I said, of course, there's other things that we did, the specific hypnosis, inner child work. Like I say, that was tough for her. But these two things are a game changer, and it's challenge and install. So challenge the thought, as I love to do. Again, it's the psychology in me, you know. I found this so helpful, guys, honestly, like challenging the thoughts, rationalizing them, coming at it with evidence. It's a game changer for me and for so many of you that I've worked with. So challenge the thought, install the state, and then from there you are going to take an action. So for her, the panic thought hit her. I'm not chosen, right? He's not chosen me. Or maybe he's chosen someone else. Okay, there's the panic. What else could be true that doesn't harm you? What else could be true that doesn't harm me? I'll ask myself that. She'll allow herself to answer that question. Of course, I had to help her out, you know, might need a little bit of prompting and stuff, but that's okay. Take your time with it and just allow whatever to come up. And then after you've done that, she made one decisive move. We got her to make a decisive move within 60 seconds, not towards him, but towards the woman that she was becoming. And I'm just going to give you some examples of that. I'm not necessarily saying this is exactly what she did, but I'm just giving you guys examples because all of you are going to be different. So she's becoming, all right, the woman that she is becoming. Okay, so examples of what she could do. She could archive the chat, especially if she's being hooked on a chat, right? And she keeps checking it to see if she's got any response, right? Close the app, decide, make a decision. Like, I'm not waiting, I'm living. Because that's what it's all about. You're not waiting, you're living. And then you can engage in, if you'd like, hypnosis or a meditation. She loved doing that. That was her biggest thing, actually. She would do that even in her own time, particularly in Being Chosen. I have free hypnosis on this channel, proper hypnosis. Get yourself into that relaxed state. Feel out being chosen. I've got that in my SP hypnosis. Another thing you can do is book your future. So why don't you put something in the calendar for yourself right now, something that excites you. Could be a dinner with a friend, could be a class that you take or a trip or something, because chosen people make plans. Chosen people don't wait around for someone else to choose them. They're already chosen. They're making plans. They're living their life. You can do an act of self-upgrade in the moment. These are the kind of things that I like to do. You know, it's all within my control, right? It could be little things like changing the bed sheets or making the place nice, lighting the candles, getting yourself an outfit or dressing up or getting your hair done, whatever it might be. So you've got a thought that is challenged, and then you've got a move that is going to upgrade your baseline. So that's one. The next thing we did was the install, because remember, your body is going to write the rules. So we rehearsed for her, or one of the things we rehearsed, of course, state of being chosen. Before she got any contact again, she had to feel chosen, because what is the point? He would have gotten in touch with her and she would have repeated the same cycle unbeknownst to her. So we put her in that state of being chosen. I put her in this relaxed, trance-like state, and I got her to recall a moment in her life where she genuinely felt chosen. Just do this in your own time. Do some breath exercise. It's something that puts you into that relaxed, trance-like state. And just let that feeling fill you. Fill your chest. And once you've saturated yourself in that feeling, create an anchor. You can use your finger to your thumb to create an anchor, to just cement it in. And only then is she to act or react from that place, from that state. And I assume that's what she's doing now. That's what she was saying in her message. She's keeping up the work. She's reminding herself of being chosen, and she's anchored that in. So she'll only act from that identity, from that version, training bit by bit her new identity, the one who is safe, the one who is chosen, the one who leads the way, rather than being led by fear. Because if you don't rewrite this, your body is going to keep picking versions of people who fit this script, who end up ghosting you. But when you change it, different people, different versions are going to come to greet you. So those were the two moves, challenge and install. And that's what we did to change the signal. So when the signal is changed, the mirror is going to change. And that means everyone and everything in it. And that's why her specific person has reappeared, has whisked her away to some lovely random place. It looked like there was a bathtub outside. We're talking about the bath outside amongst nature. I mean, it sounds amazing, darling. I hope you're having the best time. Happy birthday to you. You truly deserve it. But she essentially now is allowing love in. She's able to, because she recognizes a new version of it, a version that initially she never dared to assume for herself. So I really hope that was helpful for you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Like I say, if you need more support, all of the links are in the description box below if you do need one-to-one. But just, come and join the community. We'll end this ghosting loop once and for all. We'll get you into a better state. This is a fantastic journey. When it's done correctly, you learn so much about yourself. You become the best version of self, and it truly is incredible what you can achieve. So I love you guys. I wish you the very best. Thank you. Thank you as always for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video.